What you're looking at now is something really quite astonishing. We thought, until this was uncovered, we thought that the oldest arches in the world were Roman arches. We thought that the oldest arches in the world were a little more than 2,000 years old. And then we found this. When we found this, we once again threw away everything we knew, because what you are looking at, my friends, is an archway to the date, to the time of Abraham, our father. That means nearly 4,000 years old. This is the oldest archway in the world. Now, the reason why it is, now that part we know. The rest we think is quite likely that Abraham passed through here. When I say likely, I don't mean there was a video camera here, but this is where Abraham would have passed through in his fight to rescue his nephew Lot. This is exactly the place. So the archway, which is built by the Canaanites, who were here in the land of Israel, built this nearly 4,000 years ago, which brings exactly to the date of Abraham. And this is exactly where Abraham was, defeating the enemies, defeating four kings, one of them that was right over here. And it is quite likely, if you see the stairway going up through that archway, which now has dirt under it, it is possible, it is conceivable that Abraham walked through that archway. It is conceivable. We don't know, but the date of this, the location of this, would mean that is a complete possibility. This is something completely astounding of the archway. You could see here how that's held up. We didn't know that there was 4,000 years ago that people had thought this system up of holding up these ancient places, but in fact this is what we've discovered over here. And this, in my opinion, the Tel Dan part is nice, but I'm a rabbi, I'm a believer. I don't need an inscription written by an enemy of the house of David to confirm what I already know. But I'm happy it was discovered, because many people had doubts, and it reaffirmed and ensured that people would know that our Tanakh is reliable and is completely dependable. But this really is one of the most, in the north, this is one of the most moving places to me. Not because it's the oldest archway, but because Avram Avinu likely walked here. In fact, this is one of two staircases which you're going to see that Abraham very likely walked through. I say likely means I don't know that he actually did. It's very likely he did, because this is the area where Abraham encountered one of the kings, and it was immediately following the event that occurred likely right here, that led to an encounter with Shem, who's called Malki Tzedek in Scripture, and when Abraham defeated his enemies. And you have to remember that the Canaanites this is a fantastic structure. This is a fantastic gate, a fantastic archway. They had enormous amount of money, booty, that Abraham could have taken for himself and kept for himself as a result of being victorious in this war, and he didn't do it. And that's really the story of Abraham. The gates of Abraham. Again, we don't know we don't have an inscription that Abraham was here. But this is exactly in the place, exactly in the time, and this correlates exactly to the passage that we see over here. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive. In this case, it's called a brother, but in the Bible, the term brethren doesn't necessarily mean someone who's your sibling, but someone who's a member of your family. So he and his men, he went to this house 118 and pursued them as far as Dan. That means that's right here. That means this is exactly where Abraham would have been. This is dated, and no one questions the dating of this. And they said when they discovered this, what year did they discover this in Yehuda?
I think during the beginning of the 90s.
Yeah, so this is very late. When they discovered this, they literally took the books, the old books, and threw them out the window. This shattered what was previously understood.
Did we fill in the gates? I mean, or is that from...
No, we just didn't
We
excavate it.
decided to leave it this way. We decided to leave it this way because those are mud bricks, and we don't want the gate to fall. We found. Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
We found this is the oldest gate, the oldest place in the world with an arch. Okay, and you can
It's gonna
see
stand
that
there.
it is dating to the 1700 BCE. We found another gate in Ashkelon, but that's not as old as this one. It's approximately, I would say, 450 years after this one. There is also one more thing that I want you to see on the model over here. During the early Canaanite time, no walls. The cities have no walls. During the middle Canaanite time, the cities started to have walls. And you can see how they built the wall and a gate. This is the way during the middle Canaanite time. One more thing that I want to add is that we have in the book of Genesis that Abraham pursued them all the way to Dan. But at the time he pursued them, this was called Laish. Okay? But that is actually showing us that when they wrote it, the city was already called Dan. That's why they didn't use the name Laish, because at that time nobody knew anymore where is Laish, because this was called Dan already. That's why they named it, they wrote it all the way to Dan.
What period of time would you call them Middle Canaanite?
Middle Canaanite is approximately from 2000 BC to the 15.5 BC. And there are two Middle Canaanite. I will not go into it, the differences, but there are two Middle Canaanite. Okay?
Okay, now we can go to the bus.